Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Manino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino. Welcome to Driven Unscripted Success Podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, on how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Delray Beach, Florida, Dr. Jonathan Kahan. How you doing, young man?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We really do appreciate it. You know, a lot of people take time out of their day and in their life to share their really cool experiences, and I think it really adds value to the listeners, and I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Would you do me a favor? We were talking off camera. I'm not about to introduce the stuff that you do. I know that you're a cardiologist, but you have like 7 or 8 other things to do, a book and then Blueberry, and let's go through that round first so we can tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I was born in Toronto, Canada.
Nice.
And I've been working in hospitals since I was like 14 years old.
Really?
Knew I loved it, knew that's what I wanted to do. In Canada back in the day, it was impossible to get into med school. They had combined 2 years of high school into one. So they got rid of grade 13, moved it to everyone goes to grade 12. And so nobody got in that year. So I went, most of my family lives in Israel. So I went to Tel Aviv for medical school, then wanted to be in America, came to New York, did all my training in New York. I did my internal medicine at Columbia, my cardiology at NYU on Long Island. And then, the choice was, well, where do you live when you have no family? You move to Florida. It's the greatest state. It's fun. Great place to live and start a family. I love New York too. It's just it was very expensive at the time, and just sort of found my dream job. Got in with a cardiology group who I work with. But I had these 2 kids at home, and one of them was always getting ear infections, and you think to yourself, you're a doctor, you should be able to handle it. But I couldn't. I had no idea what I was doing. And so what I was doing was I was just constantly harassing my pediatric friends, saying, what's this? What's that? Sending pictures. If you're a parent, you have anyone in healthcare, you're just doing that all the time. And so, me and one of my pediatric friends named Dr. Lindsay Garby realized that this was a business of parents just texting doctors. It's very hard to get a hold of your pediatricians at night or on the weekends or holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And so we realized that this is a business. And that's really how Blueberry Pediatrics got started. I had a friend in Google. He still works in Google. Fantastic guy named Dave Coleman, who connected me with someone who was looking to do a startup, leaving Google to do he wanted any startup, and decided to get together and work. His name is Harrison Gordon, and the trio of us have been sort of doing this ever since. And it's really kind of taken off, but it just started with this realization that there's a need here, there's a niche here, and keep in mind, this was pre-COVID. We started in 2016 in Florida, and so
Mm-hmm.
it took me months to even convince someone that that you could do pediatric telemedicine. As funny as that sounds now, there's so much telemedicine in America. This was not the idea. This was not the thought. The thought was that it was too risky. And so, since then we've just sort of, taken off and, leveraging technology and trying to basically put a pediatrician in everybody's pocket. And
That is amazing. Actually, you're going to die laughing. Yesterday, I had an interview with another pediatric in Ohio that and you're pretty much doing the same thing. And I've never heard of this till the last 2 days. It really
yeah,
is it really is the coolest thing you could possibly do.
yeah.
He's doing the pediatrics in his area, and then they have other doctors in other areas. And this is, I mean, help me out. This is what he's doing. I think you're doing the exact same thing, and he's charging per kid. I think it's $180 a month, and you have a pediatric on call all the time.
Yeah, so he's doing something a little bit differently. We are 20 something dollars per family per month, unlimited. And that's where the
Okay, well
technology comes
that's
in.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we send every family a kit that includes an otoscope for the ear infections. I had to get it in there. Pulse oximeter,
Yeah, it's your
thermometer.
son, right?
Yeah. We're working on a stethoscope that's going to be, sub $50. And everything's FDA approved. We basically try to go for the highest evidence-based medicine, but leveraging that technology for the scale. And that is where the merger of medicine and technology comes together. I'll give you a different example. So what's the average, amount of patients a doctor can see an hour? It's four, right?
And
15
that's
minute
pushing it
visits.
too. You've only
Yeah.
got 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 10 minutes, so four visits an hour. We're basically close enough to seven. And
Really?
the way that we do that, we have to make everything evidence-based. We can't cut corners. These are kids. We can't have
Obviously.
that. But the way that we do that is with our technology. It's with the utilization of that in safe ways to basically allow the doctor to practice at the top of their license.
Well, what there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack here. So, what we like to do in our business is add value to people.
Yeah,
So, how you're adding value. So, what is the biggest problem with healthcare? Cost,
cost.
right? You just blew my mind when you said $27. That is insanely cheap.
hmm hmm
So, if help me understand this. If we had your Blueberry company that would be able to help diagnose and treat kids for $27, and you probably still need a supplemental insurance that's emergency, like we'll say catastrophic. We call it catastrophic insurance. Your
hmm
insurance cost goes exponentially down.
Yep.
You get better care. What I love that you're doing, and help me if I'm wrong, is you're cutting out the insurance company.
No. So we work with insurance companies too. We go direct to
Really?
consumer and we work with insurance companies, all the major ones that you've heard of. And what we do there is we provide the highest quality care, but what we are really doing is keeping the children out of the ERs and out of the urgent cares. We have a 20 to 40% reduction in ER and urgent care visits. We're triaging patients to where it's appropriate. We follow up with every patient every time. We're also available in Spanish, 100%. It's a tier one language. And so what we're able to do is we're able to keep the kids where they need to be. And while providing everyone great care for low cost. Now that $27 a month, that's per family. So families could be anything. We have blended families of 9 kids, on a single account. And each child gets their own account, but the umbrella account of the parent is less. And this is what also the insurance companies are paying. They're paying very little money to be able to have this care. We don't want to replace the primary pediatricians. We want to drive patients back to them where they belong and not to be scattered all over the wind like they are now. So that's what we do.
Wow, that is crazy cool and
Yeah.
most cost efficient way I've ever seen. Period,
Yeah.
by far and away.
Yep. That's what we do. And then, it gets even crazier than that. So for example, if you look at, say, a Medicaid plan, and what the government, what CMS does is they
Mhm.
say, let's just say your child's obese, right? Obesity is a huge risk factor, especially in pediatrics, things like diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on and so forth.
In any medical,
Yeah.
obesity is probably. Here's a question for you: Is obesity worse than smoking?
It's a great question. I would say probably yes, to be honest. Not the endorsement
Just
of
because of the
smoking, but
epidemic.
yeah,
Just because of the epidemic. If
yeah,
other countries are like Italy, there's not that much obesity. But here, I mean, I feel
yeah.
that obesity is worse than smoking right now.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. If not on par, certainly it's there. And so, these insurance plans, they don't really know which one of their patients is obese or not. And the problem with that is they're actually leaving like millions, billions of dollars on the table because they aren't be able to risk adjust as well. So we can go into an insurance plan and say, hey, these are, sort of where we think who's obese, who's not. We have lots of screeners. We screen for depression. We screen for suicidality. We screen for, obesity. We screen for, all these different factors. And we do it regularly. It's the first thing a parent sees. And then we're able to identify kids who actually need that extra help.
Wow.
And we do that as well. And so it's just sort of been this sort of holistic approach to a child that we're able to deliver in your phone, basically, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. It's something that hasn't been done before.
No, it hasn't been done before. We were the first to do it in terms of, having a pediatric specific telemedicine company. There are lots of telemedicine companies out there. I would say the vast majority of them are focused on adults. And that problem is actually kind of getting worse because what they're doing is they're not hiring pediatricians in the larger telemedicine companies. They're hiring family doctors just in case they get a child. Whereas we only use board
Mm.
certified pediatricians. And I can tell you as an adult physician myself, like I don't know anything about kids. And so, I think that it's having that, ability to recognize your limitations as a doctor and knowing that there are experts out there like pediatricians who really should be the ones taking care of the children.
Absolutely. I mean, a specialty is designed to be better.
Yeah,
You know,
I would.
like I'm gonna say from our end, in the building industry or the multifamily industry, I'm not gonna hire a plumber to do electrical work.
Yeah. Yep. And that's kind of what's happening right now.
Really?
Unfortunately, I mean, I think there are a lot of telemedicine companies that are doing great work and they're doing, really, really cool stuff. But then there's other ones that are gonna, just they're there for the prescription, and we know who they are. So it's one of those things where the industry is just kind of all over the place. And what I'd like to see, going forward is just, following the guidelines, following what's evidence-based, doing right by the patient. And that's not always going to be a prescription. In fact, our prescription rate is about 20% that of other telemedicine companies because, we make the parent do the otoscope on their own. That's no one else is doing that either, but we're able to visualize the inner ear, the tympanic membrane, and then we know who needs an antibiotic, who doesn't. And actually, the parents find that a barrier.
It, it, I could stop you. I'm sorry to stop
No, no,
you, but there's a lot to unpack, and I want the audience to realize this. So, and if this is true, so I heard that AI can help with diagnosis. Is that true? I mean, what I would like is an option for AI, but doctor always check it.
yeah. So here's how we utilize AI. So
Okay.
I think what everyone is used to is large language models, the
Yes.
LLMs, OpenAI, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. But there are different
Tell me what
types.
I want to hear.
There are different types of AIs. The one that we have and that we're, building and, modifying and perfecting is called neurosymbolic AI.
Okay.
What is the difference? What does that mean? So neurosymbolic AI has a large language model for its neuro component, its thinking sort of component, basically the way that it writes. But there's a bunch of symbols around it that make the hallucinations of an AI drop to nothing. And things like, I'll give you an example. Things like what's the pulse ox showing? Things like we wrote hundreds of custom rules. These are like PDFs of rules for being able to do telemedicine in children because there's nothing out there that's like this.
Hmm.
So we have to basically write the guidelines ourselves. You can think about things like information from the otoscope. And so all these things come together, all these symbols come together. Labs, we're the only one checking urinalysis, urine cultures before we give antibiotics because that's what you're supposed to do. And so all these things come together to make sort of a rigidity to the LLM so that it can't do something crazy. And then what we do is we have the board certified pediatrician, that's all we use, check every single sentence. But what that does is it makes it explainable. In the right side panel of our own custom EMR, we had to make everything custom because nothing like this exists. You have an explanation of everything the AI did, everything the AI thought, and where it got it from. And if it's wrong, the pediatrician just changes it. And so this is sort of how we're able to
That's what I
scale.
like. I like
Yeah,
I like the human element because there's
yeah.
a lot of times that AI is getting it wrong.
Yeah, there is. And we have to keep the humanity. We have to keep the experts in. When we talk to parents, we can talk to parents by phone call, chat, or live video like we're doing. Most parents actually like the chat. It's always going to be the pediatrician chatting with them. It's always going to be the pediatrician on the phone with them. Because
Wow.
if you lose that, then you've lost everything. And that's truly how I feel.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, you got to. AI is good. Humans are better.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like for example, let me give you a real example. If you can afford to have a $2,500, a month concierge pediatrician, sorry, $2,500 a year concierge pediatrician available, like that, then, you should do that. But for
Hmm.
the vast majority of us who can't afford
Right.
that, we're the next best option.
Well, your price is insane. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never said this to anybody ever, but I think you should raise your price.
Believe me, our
27 for a
investors say the same
family.
thing.
Well, if it works and it starts exploding,
Yeah.
I don't see $40, $50, for to have a doctor on call is just it just sounds the value in that
Yeah.
sounds grossly overwhelming.
Yeah, and pediatrics, pediatrics happens on nights, and it happens on weekends, it happens on holidays, it happens before
That's
school
when it
and
happens
after
the most.
school.
That's the only time the kids
Yeah,
get sick.
exactly. And so,
Friday night at 7 o'clock.
right, and so we're there, and what people don't realize is, when you look at something like employers, we work with a lot of employers, right? Absenteeism from a kid being home is so common. I mean, every employee who has a kid, and most employees have kids, you're working because you have kids, is going to miss many days out of the year because their kids are sick. And it just happens, Think about things like daycares. How many kids are getting sick in daycares? We're one of the only telemedicine companies treating infants, so parents come home from the hospital first time and we're there, it is what it is. When we had our first kid in Manhattan, we were assigned a pediatrician. We didn't know that we needed to get one before. We were assigned a pediatrician that didn't speak English. And it was insane. Yeah, I know, crazy, but it's true. And so it was like, it was just, it's that security blanket that's there. We're there for everything. And I think one of the saddest realities is a lot of it is, worried well, or a lot of it is, colds, flus. But we get everything. We get diabetic ketoacidosis, we get abscesses, we get appendicitis, we had a patient who had a complex congenital undiagnosed heart disease, who actually coded in the ER after we sent them in 10 minutes later and lived. And so we get these really serious cases, and the reason we're getting these is because parents just they haven't read the textbooks, they don't know, and so it's one of those things
They
where,
got they got they got bigger things to worry about, whatever they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah, and kids are resilient, which is amazing, but at the same time, they're really vulnerable, and
I agree.
can go downhill.
You were talking about like a misdiagnosis, all the diagnosis that you've had through your kids. I remember one time I had a misdiagnosis, my daughter,
Yeah,
and I don't do, I love doctors. I love nurses. I just don't do well in those situations. Like my
yeah,
daughter was doubling over in pain and we're at a urgent care.
yeah,
And then and she was doubling over in pain, and I just pulled the screen back, go, hey, let's fix this. And then people came over and took a look at it, and they said it was ovarian cysts,
okay, yeah, yeah,
right? She was at
yeah,
the right age, and she'd had problems with this before. And
yeah,
then they gave her some morphine, and they said, oh, you got to go to a different hospital. I
yeah,
said, okay, cool. So we go to a different hospital. And then that one said, no, you got to go to a different hospital because they didn't take our insurance. And
hmm,
your service at that, my daughter was older. It wasn't, she was an adult. She wasn't a kid.
yeah,
Would have been invaluable at that time.
yeah, yeah,
Invaluable at that time.
yeah,
And then went to the other one and they said, we don't think it's ovarian cyst. We think it's appendicitis and the appendix burst.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, wow. And
yeah,
then the doctor came in and, we kind of on call. He was
yeah,
on call at 12 o'clock at night on a Saturday. And
yeah,
then he literally saved her life.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, something else. That's a really good point you brought up. There's very few pediatric specific, brick and mortar places in America. And so, for example, like I live in Delray,
Just
right?
getting into one.
Yeah, Delray is heavily populated. We're right above Boca. We have everything you want. We're a huge place. And
Mhm.
yet, I don't have a pediatric specific urgent care. The closest pediatric specific hospital is 45 minutes away from me, and so they're just, it's,
45 minutes away.
yeah,
45 minutes away.
yeah. And so that lack of care is pretty much universal unless you're living in like Manhattan. And so, it's shocking that, even in these heavily populated areas, of America, there just isn't that pediatric specific care that you need. And so then you have to talk about the pediatricians, and the pediatricians are doing great. But again, they're not gonna be available on nights, they're not gonna be available on weekends, and that's where you need someone, and you need someone quickly.
I'm trying to help you out with your business. What if someone's not signed up and they need you? Can they get a $100 fee, say $100 1 day fee, and then let them, go through whatever they're going through? Because
There's
that would be a great emergency situation.
there's no need for that. You just sign up, you get the
You're not
same
even gonna
price as
charge
everyone
more?
else.
God, we're gonna talk here, dude.
We may not, so we send the kits out, right? So we may not have the kit, but it's really
Okay.
common. About 30, I think 35% of patients who sign up use us immediately. Sign up, immediate use.
And
So
they just keep using you until when is a pediatric done? My wife took care of all that. I
yeah,
had 2 kids, but when are they
yeah.
done? When are you
So
16?
we specifically were 0 to 21.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
so you can use us the entire time, and we're unlimited, and we follow up on every patient every time. We make sure that you're okay, and if you're not okay, we'll handle it.
You better be telling the truth because I don't. None of this sounds real.
Yeah, check us out. blueberrypediatrics.com.
I'm literally going to, and
Yeah.
the only reason I'm gonna do that is my son just made me a grandfather last month.
Oh, congrats. Yeah. We
Thank
have
you.
gift cards too. And so yeah.
I'll pay the $27 to make sure my grandson's okay.
Yeah. 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 So we have a yearly option as well. I think we're around $200 yearly. Yeah.
Dude, you're that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're saying incredibly cool stuff. Like, most people, I would not a fan of insurance companies because
Yeah.
I know they make it harder for you.
Yeah. I think with insurance companies, we specifically work with Medicaid plans. They're trying to do the right thing, but it's like they don't have the technology, they don't have the tools, they don't have they're not up to that. And I think that it's really hard for them. Like when we work with insurance companies, the best I've seen, the best has been about 70% of the patients even know who their primary care is.
Really.
That's probably as good as it gets. Yeah. And so it's everyone is scattered everywhere. And our goal is to try to just sort of put the pieces back together and to, make everything streamlined so that, kids can get the care they need, be seen by who they need, and to just not break the bank. I mean, we just want to my goal is not, to financially make $1 billion. My goal is to provide care to everywhere. I'd rather 1 billion people have care than make $1 billion. Just me. I mean, that's
Yeah, I got some bad news for you though. That
yeah.
what I've seen in this world, if you're gonna take care of 1 billion people, you will be a billionaire. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're altruistic about it because you're a doctor, and doctors go into like we talked earlier. A doctor friend of mine said, "You guys got to give up your 20s."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy
True.
to do that for anything,
It's true.
and you guys do it to help people,
Yeah.
which is kudos to you guys. Real kudos. I mean, blessings to you because it's a tough job, and what you're doing is you're trying to help out more people. That's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
crazy cool.
Yep. That's our goal to be a pediatrician in the pocket, concierge medicine for all. And
Pediatric in the pocket. That's you know what? That's going to be the name of the podcast.
okay.
So tell me, I want to try and go a little holistic on this entire situation. So give me one of the challenges you had in your career and how did you overcome it?
So I think one of the challenges is, say you're only doing one thing, which is medicine, which is healthcare. That's a very specific tract. All of
Right.
your entire training is just focused on that. And then
Hmm.
when you want to do something impactful, like say Blueberry Pediatrics, I mean, that's the most impactful thing I've done in my career by far. It's not close. The business element comes into that. And yet, if you are a doctor, like I've never taken a business course in my life. And so I think that how do you navigate the VC world? We actually got our start in an accelerator called Y Combinator. It's probably the most famous one in America. They do like Airbnb, Reddit, all these guys got their start the same way. But how do you navigate that world that's just been completely, blocked to you for your entire career? I think that's a huge challenge. That's something I still deal with today. I mean, the terms that would be simple for someone like you who's been in business for 30, 40 years, is completely foreign language to me. And so I think that that is something that is very difficult for healthcare, people in healthcare to navigate, but is critical to be able to run a successful business because without it, you're just sort of, just making mistakes all over the place. And I think that's,
Well, I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing, but what I've learned a long time ago is put the right person in the job for it,
yeah,
and just get a business person, let them run the business part. And
yeah,
you do your thing, and that's been a recurring thing in the podcast is do what you do, and then get somebody else to do what they do that
yeah,
you need. And
yeah,
I partner up with the best people on the planet, and it just
yep,
really makes an incredible life. But yeah, the struggle of just understanding just basic business. And
yeah,
here's something I just talked to someone today in when we were growing up. Did you have any business classes in any school? I mean, did
zero,
you have any personal finance classes in any school?
zero,
Right, me too. Right,
yeah,
and I thought people, schools have to be figuring this out now.
yeah,
I was talking to a kid that's in college right now. I'm like, hey, do you have any business classes? And he's like, or personal business, just taking care of your personal finance. And he's like, no. I'm like, still today, they
yeah.
haven't fixed that problem.
Yep. Yep. But I think at least now there's courses online that are available
Yeah.
to you. When me and you were growing up, it just wasn't, you didn't have any of that. There was no resources. And so, what I encourage people to do is, just do that self-learning, recognize the holes that you have. But I really agree with what you said before. This is a huge team of people. This isn't me. This is a huge team of people. All of us have our strengths, all of us has our weaknesses, and just coming together as a team. And that's how it always works out. There's no one's an island. There's only one Elon Musk or whatever. No one's an island.
He's not an island.
He's
He's
not an
not an
island
island.
either.
He's
Yeah.
got he's got millions. He's got not millions. He's got
Yeah.
thousands upon thousands of great people working with him.
Right. Right. And so no one's an island, and you just have to work well as a team. That's the key to business is to just be together, recognize what you do well, recognize the stuff you don't do well, and just find the people who can fill the holes. And I think we did that. And otherwise this would have never come together. I mean, it just wouldn't.
I like what you said. This is the most impactful thing I've ever done.
Yep.
I would have to agree with that. I don't know your entire life, but
Yep.
this is pretty impactful. Like this is stuff you're saying as a business person.
Yeah.
$27.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It might
crazy
even be
cool.
cheaper than that. I have to look up our latest price, but I know it's like 200 something for the year. And that's, again, for everybody. So you're looking at, fractions of, $20 for a kid. And
And
it's
and do you when you send the kid out, they got to pay for that, right?
nope. They get the kit. Sometimes they have to pay. It depends on how they sign up. But we're starting to have to do the kit for a little bit of money, but it's not a lot. And what I think the goal is to just get this everywhere and to be able to have good care for everybody. That's really the goal.
Agreed. Agreed. Listen, one of the other questions we'd like to ask is um, financially. So, have you ever created passive income, or have you ever tried to create passive income? If you have, how have you done it?
I think. I think it's hard to say because I don't even know if this will qualify with passive income. But when you do something like Blueberry, which is like
Mhm.
truly something you're passionate about, like it doesn't feel like work for me.
It's
And
work.
I know it's work, I get it, but it just doesn't feel like it. And
Yeah.
I know that at the end of the day, it's good, it's so rewarding that it's kind of just where I'm at. And I know that's not the definition of passive income. I get it.
No.
Totally get it. Not at all. But this is, as passive as it gets for someone who's just actively doing it. Because when I am able to, close a Medicaid deal and 100,000 kids are going to get care that they didn't get, yesterday. And when I, bring something new into the world, like an AI enhanced stethoscope that is sub $50 that didn't exist. It's like
An AI stethoscope for under
yeah,
$50.
yeah. So we're working with a different company called called Cor called Corion. They're fantastic. They're in Pittsburgh. really fantastic guys, and working with them, partnering with them to be able to bring this to market, to give a stethoscope in everyone's home. I'm going to try to make it like, the next thermometer. And, just making it as cheap as possible, as available as possible. Working with the kits, we're probably the only people doing home strep tests at this point. Sending strep tests to
Where
people.
where else would be the perfect place for the kit?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's beyond everything
Yeah.
you're saying is perfect.
Yeah, and that's all we're trying to do is just, is just do that. And so when you do that, when you have that sort of impact, it feels passive. And I know it's not right. I know it's not real.
It's yeah.
I passed my basic business to do that, but
We'll talk after this about
yeah.
passive income. This yeah
Yeah.
this is not passive. You're changing. Yeah, I'm changing the world of medicine and it's passive. No, that is completely active. It's a definition of active. And when you're taxed as active income. There's no way that's passive.
Yeah. No,
But yeah,
not when you feel like I
I'm
do.
changing the world. I'm just changing the world of medicine. It's kind of
Yeah,
passive.
yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to somebody that doesn't make any sense. But thinking about the future, I mean, this is crazy. And if I can help out in any way, I would love to help out with what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. You're really changing the healthcare. And like as a business person, there's a middleman. The middleman's the insurance company. And I've heard stories, and I might be, sorry to the people that are listening that are in medical healthcare or in medical insurance. But I've heard that they get to delegate the treatments in certain medicines.
Yeah, I think we see that a lot in the adult world. But I think for me, and this is sort of an overall philosophy, I could spend, the next 10, 15 years trying to change policy. And I don't know how to do that, and I'm not skilled in that. Or what I can do is try to provide immediate benefit within the framework. And, I think that's what we do. And
It is what you do. It's not
yeah,
you don't think what you do. You are
yeah.
changing. You are changing medicine. And
And
how
sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, I was
No,
going to
I
say
want to
that,
hear you.
I think that, look, our system is far from perfect, for sure. But I think that there are areas where we can make moves that will benefit a lot of people very quickly, regardless of, sort of the barriers that we face every day. And, that's where our focus has been is what can we do within what exists? And I think, maybe policy will change, maybe it won't. But, we're not going to wait around for that. And, kids are kids now, and we're going to, treat as many as we can.
Well, you're doing it. If you don't mind sharing, like, where'd you start, how long you've been doing it, and where you're at now with how many people you're treating.
Yeah. So we started in 2016 in Florida. It was
Great place to
me,
start.
me and three other people. Our first thing was we went to a YMCA event where I wore my white coat in July, and we got 50 email signups and one credit card, and that credit card turned out to be fake, as did most of the
Mhm.
emails. And that's where we started from. And, pediatric telemedicine in general just wasn't there. I mean, there was Teladoc, there was a couple other players, but they just weren't, anywhere what they are today. And, since then we're going national. We'll be national by January. We currently cover more than 85% of the pediatric population in the US. I think one in 450 children in the US are members now. We have probably about
1 in 450 are members.
yeah, I think we have more than probably about 150,000 people on the platform, maybe more. We go by families, so that's why, and we assume families of two
That's
kids.
that's not including kids. You're just
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
So
groups.
we're talking a vast number of people. We are with a lot of Medicaid plans as well, and they're expanding as well. Um, and so, I think we're sort of on the right path, but we got to keep going and we got to keep innovating and just making that goal happen. And that's this sort of our North Star.
You're killing it, Doc. I swear. this has probably one of the best interviews I've had in a long time.
Thank
And
you.
you're the value that you're adding to society, not like a group or membership or state or something. What you're adding to society is really, in a nutshell, revolutionary.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope
Oh,
so.
no, thank you for doing it. Well, listen, Doc, I can't thank you enough. Dr. Jonathan, please, if here, before I forget, if anybody would like to get in contact with you or hook up with you, how would they do that?
Sure, absolutely. So my email, this is a tough one, is john@blueberrymed.com. That's
Okay,
blueberrymed.com.
blueberrymed.com.
Our website is blueberrypediatrics.com. You can sign out, sign up, check it out for yourself, get that kit, and see. Hopefully, you'll never need us.
Well, but for $27 a month, whatever you're charging is grossly. You guys are really, as a business person, that's grossly insanely great. Keep up the great work. You're saving lives. You're changing medicine, and you're taking care of a family. I don't know how you do it.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Great job. Listen, thanks a lot, and for everybody else, thanks for watching. Hit up Dr. Jonathan, and please like and subscribe, and hit the notification button whenever you guys get time. Appreciate your time here, and take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.